All right, we're here, it looks like. Welcome, JP Gotze with you, the director of the Coastal Virginia Chamber of Commerce, back again for Facebook Live, Zoom, whatever the high-tech event is, here in our conference room here at our headquarters. So glad that you're with us. Again, more great guests that we're having tonight. Dr. David Packer is going to co-host this with me. He is one of our charter members of our committee, which is our chamber, which, if you recall, we only started in January. Heck of a time to start a chamber, but we persevered through it and had some wonderful events for you that hopefully you found informative. Jerome Bell is with us. He's a new friend of mine that I've just met. Interesting guy. He's running for the 2nd District Republican seat that will go up against the incumbent Democrat Elaine Loya, who will plan on having her on later in the summer or early in the fall. Ben Loyola is going to join us after the bottom of the hour, and he's one of the other candidates as well. And Joel Rubin, a longtime friend and a popular voice here when he used to host his own show, On the Record, will be joining us right at the bottom of the hour. The mission statement, again, people ask why we have a new chamber. Well, we thought that the other chamber wasn't doing some of the things that we wanted to do. We wanted to be very education focused. We wanted to have a lot of forums for candidates and business owners to be able to speak up about their concerns. And so hopefully we're going to have some of that tonight. Well, the first one of these that we had Morgan Davis, the CEO of Town Bank, and we're going to have him back before too long as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. David Packer and let him introduce Mr. Bell, and we'll have a fun hour, guys.
Yes, I've had the pleasure of knowing Jerome for a number of years. We both served in the Navy, and Jerome was actually a patient of mine at Precision Spinal Care years ago, taking care of some back issues. Look like you're standing up straight or doing good now. So we just like to open it up. Tell us a little bit about your background, your military career, what formed your beliefs, and what are the key points that you want to make for your run for Congress.
Okay, hey, well, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Great.
And it's good to see you again, Dr. Packer. Yeah, it's been a while, but he fixed my neck. Go see this guy. He's good.
We want to kind of look this way.
Yeah. So basically, as far as my military career, I spent 27 years in the Navy. I'm retired Chief Petty Officer, and my background in the Navy, I was a flyer. I was an air crewman for 27 years, and my main job, other than flying, I was a maintenance control guy. And what that is, I was safe for flight. Okay, what safe for flight is, safe for flight releases the planes to go fly and come back safely. Hopefully, that's the plan. And so that's like the second most important job in the command, next to the commanding officer, to be honest, because he signs off on that. Basically, it's the commanding officer authorization. We're authorized to sign safe for flight. And I actually did that as an E5. I was the only E5 in the Navy at that time that was safe for flight. So I've been doing that for quite some time. And we had 4 planes, $30 million each. So I was responsible for over 4 planes worth 30 million, and also a maintenance crew of over 300 people as well. And I was their supervisor. So I did that, ran the maintenance team, and we actually kept a 98% FMC, what is we say, full mission capable rate. We had no incidents, no accidents, which is good. And I flew actually over 9,000 hours as well on those planes as an air crewman. I also ran the operations department. The operations department is really the head of what we do, because we fly worldwide. Logistics is really what it is. So we move troops, we move people, move cargo worldwide, all over the world. And I managed a 6,500, well, actually 5,500 hour flight program for our squadron. And after I did that in the Navy, I ran supply actually controls the money. That's where the operating target budget is, $8.5 million budget for our command that we ran. That, of course, we have to account for 100% of the money, which we did very successfully. So I also ran that. Once I left flying, my last 4 years, I was hand selected to go and sit on the Admiral staff of Command of Naval Reserve Forces Command right here in Norfolk. They were in New Orleans, which is lucky. They were changing bases. They were moving up here since Katrina, and so they moved up here. So I was lucky enough to be able to stay here. I didn't have to transfer down to New Orleans. And what I did on the Admiral staff there, I was an aircrew pilot training program manager for the entire Navy Reserve. So I wrote policy for aircrew training and pilot training throughout the Navy Reserves that the Admiral signed off on. And again, that was basically another $8 million to $15 million program that I ran for the Navy Reserves. And so after that, I decided to, I was a football coach, so I coach high school football. I mentor young kids, young men in, high school to really become citizens and hopefully going to that next level, that next college level. That was my small business that I did here. I ran a recruiting service to where I help athletes get scholarships and find grant aid money, to basically further their education and in college, and also play football or soccer sports. I did girls as well. So
let me interject one second. I meant to mention this at the beginning. You can text in questions that if you have for anybody here, but certainly we're focusing on Mr. Bell, Chief Bell, right now by just commenting on the Facebook Live post right now. We encourage you to do that, and if they're appropriate, I'll read them on the air. We want to be nice. We want to be nice.
Yeah. Well, I take I see a lot, so I'm pretty hefty if they want to ask tough questions. I don't know.
So this is recruiting, helping students that maybe weren't on the top level of universities getting actively recruited.
Absolutely.
And you could actually help them still get scholarships to
Absolutely.
school, or maybe they would have gone under the radar otherwise.
Right.
I didn't even know anything like that existed.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah. Because there's a lot of money. Well, sports are everywhere. A lot of people, they focus on like the D1 level sports. Well, you have D2, you have NAIA, you have D3, you have JUCO. So all of these schools participate in athletics.
And they have scholarships.
And they have scholarships, or either they have grant aid money. Okay, like D3 schools, they don't have what they call scholarships, but they have grant and aid. So if you have good grades, you have good SAT scores, they can give you academic money to come play your sport. So it may be athletic scholarship, but for them, it's more of a academic thing because they don't have to play by the same NCAA rules as that, as far as that goes. So yeah, I put a lot of people in college, over 300 people in college.
Wow.
Since I've been here, and I've been doing that for like 20. My business was going for like 8 years, but I've been helping kids get into college for over 20
I don't know what
years.
better direction to put a young man's or woman's life into than be able to get into college and make their life better.
Amen. Well put.
Yeah, that's right. If they want to go, there's opportunities. And I gave them those opportunities to go, and I'm proud of that. And then after my boys left, I have 3 boys. I'm married. I have 3 boys. Put my boys through school. Helped them through high school. I have my oldest son. He's a doctor now. He's an MD down in Atlanta. He's doing his residency down in Atlanta. My youngest, he's going into his senior year of college. He's actually off on a summer job program now out in Idaho. He's a musical theater major, and so this is his second year performing over the summer, for a company. So he's doing well in that. And that was my youngest. And my middle son, he's a cook. He did 2 years of college. Played football down in St. Andrews, and then decided college wasn't for him, and college isn't for everybody, so he's in the workforce. He's doing very well in the workforce. And so, so since I have no other kids at home, I decided to throw my hat in the ring in politics. A few people asked me to run. They say, I've always been involved in like politics. I've always been a political person. And so people asked me to run. And, at first I was like, well, no, I'm not, because, how it is. You need a team, you need money, you need all of this stuff, And so really, literally one night, I was awoke, I guess I would say by God, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and said, you're going to run. And I said, well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I rolled back over, tried to go back to sleep, right? Well, and I was woken up again. So it was over those next 4 nights, I was awake, and with the same thing. Yeah, you're gonna run. So okay, I gave in. So I can get some sleep. So I said, okay, I give in. So and then after that, everything just started falling into place. So I just trusted God in that. And my team fell into place. All my support, my 50 volunteers that I have on my team now, my call people, my manager, and over 3,000 donors from across the nation and here in Virginia that have funded my campaign. I'm not funded by a PAC or anything like that. Like someone like a few of my candidates or opponents. I'm funded strictly by the people, and I probably wasn't supposed to be here, right now, because I was told that I didn't have the funding, I didn't have the experience, and whatever. So I'm a chief though. I don't give up too easily. Chief petty officers don't do that. I think they underestimated my resolve, and so so I took the challenge. I took the challenge to put up the best fight that I can, and we're here. I think we have a momentum at the right time. The funding is coming in at the right time. We're over 6 digits now in our funding. So and I thank everyone and all the people that have donated to my campaign and continue to support me, and I get more and more support every day. So
How do you feel your experience? It sounds like you took charge a lot in the military and supervised a lot of people and ran very large budgets very successfully for our national defense. And then you were helping all these kids get into college. How do you feel that experience will translate into making changes in Congress that a lot of us want to see?
Well, my experience in the service, it's all about you take responsibility and accountability, and so, I feel like that, once I'm up in Congress, now I don't, I guess you would say kowtow. I don't, take, I guess you can say, downtrodden, a little bit, but I'm a strong person, I'm strong-willed. And so, especially in Congress, I don't think we're going the right direction. Especially this Congress now. Over the past 3 years, we're going down the wrong path. I just think my steadfastness, and my attitude, and the way I want to see the country ran. And that's really one reason why I'm running. I think in 2018 we crashed and burned a little bit. Giving the seat to Loria for whatever reasons. Okay, I won't mention them here. Everybody knows and understands why we lost, I think. But I'm here to serve. I'm here to make people's quality of life better. Here in the 2nd district and federally, because I will be voting on things that's federal, for Americans in itself. And I don't want to see us crash and burn again. So I think my experience taking care of people's lives on a daily basis, will help me do that and make a safer flight in the 2nd district.
We got our first question. Yeah. Miss Allen says, Mr. Bell, how do you think your Navy background and coaching will translate into working for Virginia?
Working for, well, because you know me, I know the people and especially my Navy experience. Okay, as far as that goes, because I'm used to running a business. I literally ran a business for the Navy. I ran 2, $8 million and $15 million businesses in the Navy. So I'm used to taking care of the people's money. I never lost a dollar, never lost a cent. I mean, people lose pennies and dimes all the time. I never lost a cent, never lost a penny. And
you
so
need to teach me how to do that, man. You way ahead of me. I was a stockbroker.
Oh, okay, all right.
25 years.
Okay, I mean, and just the way I am with people. I'm a people person. And I care about people. I care about their values. I care about the things that they want. I care about their concerns as well. So, and that's what we did in Navy. I took care of my sailors. As a chief petty officer, that was our goal. We took care of our sailors. We took care of their problems. Their problems were our problems. So in Congress, as your representative, your problems will be my problems, and we'll take care of those together.
Well, again, we ask people to text in because we got a few more minutes with Chief Bell. And if you have any questions, right now is the time to let us know what they are, and we'll get them right on the air for you.
Okay.
What do you think the key thing is, if you could wrap it up, like for our economy, that what direction you want to see us go to get back on track?
Okay, well, and this being the Chamber of Commerce, I really think that it's our small businesses drive America. Okay, and and it's all over America, especially here in Virginia Beach, because you see with this COVID stuff, with the lockdown, you see what has happened and with our small businesses and people's lives. And I'm running on America First. I'm an America First candidate. And one thing I think is harming America as a whole is the cheap labor, okay, the cheap visa labor, So, and the reason it's doing that is because the big corporations, they can bring in the cheap labor and it pushes American workers out of work. Okay, our college, especially high tech, our college kids can no longer get jobs coming out of college because of the high tech labor programs, like the H1B, the H4, the OPT, the F1. I mean, even the medical field with the L1 and the J1s, they're bringing in cheap labor, basically, from India, and they're paying them less than they would pay American workers, and American workers can't find jobs anymore. And I think it's really important for small business to really focus on hiring American workers, okay, and keeping the work here in America, not outsourcing, and not, even our data, okay, and I know, at first, the labor costs, people talk about the labor costs, and people don't, that they won't do the jobs. Well, yeah, people work here in America. This is where it all started, the world became rich off of America. They became great off of America. So we need to get back to focusing on the American worker and keeping that wealth in America. And when we do that, that will make our communities grow, and it'll make the small businesses grow, because America will grow. And as America grow, you see our communities will get better. Our middle class will get better again, because that's what drove the middle class. That's where the middle class became middle class off of small business America. So I think we really need to refocus on manufacturing in America, just like President Trump is trying to say, bring our manufacturing back. But I think we really need to focus on the American worker, so our wealth can stay here in America. Our wealth can stay here in our communities, and our communities can grow. Our kids can have jobs, where, it's not just service jobs. We become so service oriented. And now you see our service jobs are being offshored, and put our data, where the data entry, service time, all of that's going to India now. And so that needs to stay. And not along with that, our privacy is going over to India. They hold all of our data. That's our privacy. I mean, if you notice, a lot more things are getting hacked. Your bank accounts, your, just everything. And that's because our data is being sold overseas in India. It's not here. We don't have a law that prevents our data from being, outsourced outside of the United States. And that's one thing that I'm going to focus on in Congress too. I will sponsor a law that mandates our data stays here in the United States and not offshore, and that keeps our privacy right here in America where it should be as well.
Well, when you've been out on the campaign trail for I don't know how long, I'm sure probably close to a year.
No, since January. I just announced in January.
Okay.
I only, yep.
Well, that's going on 6 months. People got to be talking your ear off. What's the number one thing that they're saying to you, Chief, that if you get elected, this is what I want you to do?
Well, right now, the big focus here in Virginia has been on our Second Amendment and what's coming out of Richmond. People are really fearful that we're going to lose our Second Amendment. And so that's really been one of the big things. I've gone to all the Second Amendment rallies, the lobby days and things like that, and they're really fearful. They want us to preserve our rights. They want us to make sure that our constitutional rights are preserved. That's the number one thing that I've heard on the campaign trail. And after that, right now is jobs. Bring jobs back. It's different in any area like for instance, Virginia Beach is flooding. Okay, we need to do something about flooding. I stay close to Pungo, right down the street, and it floods every time it rains. So Virginia Beach, we need to do something about flooding. Over on the Eastern Shore, it's jobs. We need more industry over there. And not only that, recently, and this has brought to light the healthcare problem on the Eastern Shore. They don't have one hospital over there. They have one hospital, and they ran out of beds doing this COVID stuff. And so they will have to transport people, across the bridge into Virginia Beach or to Maryland, and so I was talking to a guy, and he said sometimes it's easier to go across the Bay Bridge and go to the doctor across the Bay Bridge Tunnel than it is to go to a hospital there or go to Maryland. And, they need like more patient first.
I have personal experience with this. So you're making a great point, because I'll have patients that want to come see me in Chesapeake in the Greenbrier area. but they live on the Eastern Shore and they've got to pay that toll
Right.
each way. And there's no waiver for medical reasons or anything
Right.
else. And not only paying for the medical visit, but then they got to pay the toll each way. And it becomes very burdensome to people to even get proper medical care. So you're hitting a really hot topic that I've seen in real life, in my own practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so that's one of my goals for the Eastern Shore, for all you Eastern Shore people, is to get you more medical care, more medical facilities up on the Eastern Shore. A couple more patient first, outlets, spread out, because Eastern Shore is so huge, and at least one more hospital, at least one more hospital or trauma center up there, because an ambulance. Because some people, I was talking to one of the residents there. Sometimes they have to wait 45 minutes for an ambulance to come from Virginia Beach.
Wow.
To come get them, or from Maryland to come get them, or either transport them back, to either hospital in Maryland or hospital, the Virginia Beach General, I think you said, or, so, that's really a burdensome, cost and thing for them. So, so that's one of the industries that I really want to focus on the Eastern Shore, is healthcare.
How about the black issue, white issue? We obviously see very few Republican black candidates, let alone in the Senate. Just Tim Scott from South Carolina, great guy. And are you getting support in the black community? I think a lot of people would like to hear that.
Well, yeah, actually, I am. I'm really, and I say this not, I guess, arrogant or anything like that, but I am the only candidate that can get crossover votes here, that's running in the 2nd district. I recently was just endorsed by, it's a group called One City, One Voice, but they have 7 inner city groups that's within that one group, and they all endorsed me the other night. It was Sunday night, so that gives me a major voice within the black community. But yeah, yes, to answer your question, yes, I am getting support from the black community. The black community, we're ready for change. The Democratic Party, they no longer speak for the black community as a whole. Now, we still have a lot of work to do. And believe it or not, it's so funny because I actually have white people that say I'm playing the race card when I say I'm a black Republican, so, so it's kind of funny because, I'm a traitor to my race from, black people, that's Democrat.
That's gotta hurt. Isn't that painful?
Oh no, my sister says worse stuff than that. She's a Democrat. What these people say on the internet and say they can't even compare to my sister. So my sister's got me battle tested for all the stuff that I'm getting off of the internet. But I do get that. But that's because it is a rarity. I am I guess, commodity. I guess you can say, as a whole, because we're not. But as history proves that black people are conservatives. Okay, we are conservatives, even from slavery. We voted conservative. We voted for Abraham Lincoln. Not voted, but we were for the Republican Party. The Republican Party freed the slaves. They gave us, the freedom. And black people really didn't start voting all Democrat until 1964, if you believe it or not. When Goldwater went. Okay, that was the first time that the black clergy and the elite black leadership pretty much got a lot of black people to vote for the Democrat, to vote for Johnson in 1964.
The Great Society.
Right, the Great Society. And then, Johnson, in 72 gave the New Deal, and that really, is the history where the downfall of the black community started, right? With the New Deal, with the welfare programs, with getting the black fathers out of the household, because you can't live in a household and collect, food stamps and whatever, even though they, may have needed it, at the time, because of the jobs were short, with that, destroyed the black family as well, so, and all of that was under Democratic rule. All of that was, it was under Democrats. So,
we only got a couple minutes. I want to let you wrap up, put out a website, phone numbers, just a final statement on how you're going to win or why you're going to win, and let the voters know.
Okay, I'll put out my information first. First, my campaign website is JeromeBell4Congress.com, and you spell it JaRomebell, the word for FOR Congress.com. So that's my website. You can go there and donate. You can go there and volunteer. I'm also on Twitter at Jerome Bell VA, and of course on Facebook, Jerome Bell for Virginia. And I thank anybody in advance for any donations or any volunteering. How I'm going to win is that I'm for the people, and the people understand I'm here to serve them. I'm not here to serve any master. I'm not here to serve any establishment, GOP or any corporations. Okay, I'm here to make everyone's quality of life better, and that's what separates me from everybody else. I'm here to make the 2nd District safe for flight, just like I did in the Navy for 27 years, and to make sure people land safely.
That's a good wrap up. What do you think, Doc?
I'm very impressed. Yes.
Very good. I think our next person is in here, so we're going to escort you. Unfortunately,
All right.
Thanks so much
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much. Learned a
I
lot.
appreciate that. Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
And we social distance, right?
Social distance, so
There we go.
elbow, see, elbow. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Let you come around this way. Great job.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man, you too. Great to see you, Doc.
I think you know this guy here.
Yes, sir. Hey, Ben.
Okay. We got another guy coming in. We're gonna bring him in and set him down here in just a moment. Ben, whenever you want to come in, you can, and just walk around this way, and your chair's over there.
Oh,
what you doing? Good. Good seeing you, Ben.
I'm set up. Thank you.
Jerome, I think that was the first time I'd met him, but you treated him. You know Dr. Packard, Ben?
No, pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And so he's kind of doing this
I
with me.
think, were you at the event at the nursing home, the manor that Nanny Polita had put on?
Luis Cortez?
I could have
Luis
swore I met
Cortez
you there.
was,
maybe,
we were
yeah.
not in the manor, we were
No.
handing out masks and food bank boxes, as well as coordinated with
Okay.
Sentara Hospital. We had over 1,000 cars. I mean,
goodness.
cops showed up. Apparently Luis Cortez didn't let the cops know, and they were just lined up all the way. Euclid Road, Euclid, one of the parallels the highway, and that thing was just like, what? It was awesome. Great turnout.
We're gonna get you on in a few minutes. But Joe Rubin.
Hey,
Should
Joel.
be calling in
Oh, wow.
any minute or
Just
so.
for like 5 minutes. And then you're-
Yeah, and then you got the rest of the hour.
Okay,
He's got a
okay.
big event tonight because he is having the 3rd District Republican candidates, of which there's 3 or 4.
3rd District. Oh, okay.
3rd District, and that's going to be tonight at 7:30. And so we're going to let him give that.
Do you want me to
plug.
grab him a glass so we can have some more?
No, I'll get it for him.
You be sure?
You guys can
All right.
just chat there for a minute.
So what's this all about?
Oh, we're just letting you talk for about 15, 20
Okay,
minutes.
perfect.
You can roll if you want us to engage in some questions. We got Facebook Live people typing in some questions.
So you're live right now? Are we live?
We will once as soon as
Okay,
they
okay.
get back on, and then he'll read the questions to you.
Okay.
And then if you want, I can ask you
Oh,
some
I see.
general
Okay, yeah,
questions
okay.
about the economy, military, whatever you're.
Little bio background.
I read about your bio background, so I know a little bit about the immigration from Cuba and all that. Very inspirational story, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, absolutely. Thank you for having
I
me.
was the
here.
Navy corpsman attached to the
Oh,
Marines for
wow, God
years.
bless you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and then,
No, we had him on the carrier, that's for sure.
yeah. So that was your background, was a you were an officer. on the
Yeah, so
carrier.
I enlisted first in the delayed entry program back when I was 16
Wow.
in high school. And I was heading to boot camp. I was 17-year-old finishing up high school. And I had applied to ROTC scholarship. I applied to Naval Academy. And right at the very end, hey, you still interested? Like, yeah, why? It's like, you have an appointment. I'm like, wow, change gears. I already took my physical. I was ready to head up to Orlando boot camp.
Okay. Yeah, that's back. I went to San Diego.
Oh, San Diego, okay,
They
there
don't
you
have
go.
Orlando or San Diego
Yeah.
anymore for boot camp.
Yeah. So then I went to the academy and then served there. Thank you, JP.
You're welcome. So, you mean, so instead of going to boot camp, this is when you went to the Naval
Yeah, that's when I took my
Academy?
point. Yeah, I had my wife.
I still can.
My mom, I was like, oh, no, this is. I had delayed entry program in high school. So you know how you took you were scripted early on. Then you had your pipeline. I was ready to go submarines, which I fell in love with. I'm a techie guy.
It looks like Joel Rubin's, if we see your name, Joel, but so far we can't see
Oh,
your,
so not video.
Hey,
your
Joel.
face.
Hey,
Oh,
Hey,
there
Ben.
you are.
Yes.
hey.
Can you see
Here,
us?
Let me get turned away from the sun. Can you believe I'm actually wearing a coat and tie? I don't believe it. I haven't done this since like March 12th or something, I think.
We're a little more casual. Everybody's in blue jackets and blue shirts and,
Well, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I asked the guys with the party over here. They said, well, they'll probably wearing coats and ties. So here I am looking like I did
Dapper.
in February.
You look dapper. You look dapper. Did you, were you tuned in? Did you see Jerome Bell just a few minutes
No,
ago?
I'm sorry. I was driving over here to Norfolk, and the laws that Virginians and others passed do not allow me to watch my laptop while I'm driving. Ben, when you get to Congress, can you get a national law passed to allow me to, not have to keep my eyes on the road?
Joe, I'm very blessed. I have that Ford Explorer, that wonderful USA car. It's got that lane keeper system, and now it's practically autonomous. So a couple more years, man. Just like getting rid of Navy pilots, it's just a dying species.
I know.
I heard you on Tony McCreary's last week, which he is always so kind to both you and I and so many of us. He let me on this morning for a good 5 minutes to talk about this, and he let Joel on last week. And then that's when I contacted Joel, I guess, a couple of days ago and said, why don't we piggyback, have you come on, because you got a big gig coming on about a half hour after we wrap up here. Why don't you tell us all about it?
So we're on right now?
We're live right now.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
we've been
listen.
live since 6.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much. And hi, everybody out there in second district land, because I actually live in the second district. But tonight I'm having the opportunity to moderate a debate among the 3 Republicans seeking the third district nomination. And of course, the opponent will be the incumbent Democrat, Bobby Scott, who's been in that position for 27 years, since 1993. That's a career, guys. And Bobby actually started in the House of Delegates and went to the state Senate and then on to Congress. So the 3 Republicans, obviously, all 3 of them would be our first time candidates, I believe. John Collick, who is a retired Marine First Sergeant, retired counterterrorism expert, and immigration officer. He was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. And he deployed on ships to Beirut and Kosovo and East Africa, and had some Marines under his command. And then he won numerous medals and decided to go into private business, and actually began working for the Coast Guard, and did a number of positions with the Coast Guard, then worked with the Department of Defense. He is a native of Massachusetts, but has been here for over 18 years. So that's one of our candidates. George Yakas is a New Jersey native. He's one of the other candidates. He's a Naval Academy grad. And in 1974, 20 years in the Navy as a pilot and naval officer. And then he went to work for the Coast Guard in organizational excellence in many different positions. I like the fact that he is and you'll like this, JP, band leader, lead singer, and keyboardist in a local music group, the Fun Doctors Band, PHUM.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
I'm telling you,
I like
JP, this is your man. And he's got a PhD in management from ODU.
Wow.
And he likes riding motorcycles. So that's George Yakas. And our last candidate is Madison Downs, who is, believe works in education. He has, he grew up here in the Hampton Roads area. He played football for Hampton High School. And all of his family did. He said he's had the unfortunate experience of losing family members due to unwarranted violence and crime. I encompass the pain firsthand, dealing with the tragedies of Pine Chapel and bad news. My life experiences have shaped me into the man I am today. And he says he understands the plight of the many disenfranchised individuals living in the 3rd District. As a teacher, community developer in impoverished neighborhoods, I know the trials and tribulations of poverty and I'm acutely sensitive to the issues and needs of our most affected citizens. So we've got a nice group of candidates.
So tell Joel, we only got another minute or so. Where can people, if they want to continue to listen to some good information, where do they go?
Okay, John, I got John Corsi over here. I'm with him. So it's going to be on the Facebook page of the 3rd District Republican Party. Facebook page of the 3rd District Republican Party. Just go on there and there'll be a link, and you can watch this. It starts at 7:30. So after you guys are done, we'll be on for about an hour, and I'll be looking forward to asking questions, and the audience can pose some questions as well.
You're the man. Thanks so much for coming on. That was very informative, and I'll tune into it as soon as I get back home.
Thank you very much, Gus. Good luck, guys. Let the best man win.
Thanks so much. See you, Joe. We'll take it away, Dr. Packer.
All right. Well, it's a great pleasure to have Ben Loyola with us tonight,
Thank you.
running for the 2nd District in
Yes,
Congress.
yes.
And, I read your story a little bit, and I would, if you don't mind sharing with the group tonight, just a little bit about your family's background from Cuba and the things and life experiences that you've been exposed to through your family, because we are a society based on immigrants coming in and contributing to this society, but it's also a very hot topic. And I think you would have great perspective on it. So maybe we can start there.
Well, I'm humbled to have really beginnings in a communist country. You think about it, Fidel Castro when he took over a country. So I can speak first person as a naturalized citizen, but I don't hyphenate. I'm 100% American, and I love this great country, and I've served it for 30 years in the military.
Thank you for that service.
Absolutely.
But we came here thanks to the sacrifice that my mom and dad made. My dad was a Cuban naval officer, and Fidel Castro took over Cuba. He promised prosperity, he promised land, he promised food, he promised jobs, promised to everybody. Of course, I wasn't able to deliver on that, but people bought into it. And then he took over a country by disarming the people first, tearing the kids away from their parents, taking over the education system, and taking God out of the picture. I mean, it's the Communist Manifesto all played out. And we were just so blessed to come to America, and I grew up here. My parents instilled in me the importance of education. I did really well. My first language is Spanish, but I did really well in the public school system. I love this country. Obviously, my dad and my grandfather were both in the Navy, and I just wanted to serve. And I ended up starting off at 16 at the delayed entry program in high school to join the Navy as enlisted. And I was heading off to boot camp, but got picked up to the Naval Academy to an appointment there in Annapolis. And got my degree in engineering, got my commission, and became a naval aviator.
How cool was that? You and Frank Wagner.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
how
yes.
great was that?
There are a lot of Navy folks, and it was neat to hear some more folks running in the area. Look, there's no doubt the 2nd Congressional District has the highest concentration of military in the country, and Navy is a major component with the Master Oceana Naval Jet Base, Norfolk Naval Air Station, Little Creek. We got Dam Net, we got Norfolk Naval Base. So it's huge Navy focus, almost centric. But we are blessed to have our great Air Force partners up in Langley Air Force Base and Fort Story. We got a lot of stuff in here in the area in our 2nd District. So my military background, I know, will be a great resource that I'm going to fall back upon, and my experiences and having fought in combat under a great Commander-in-Chief, President Reagan, at the time, who understood peace through strength, which I believe President Trump has also adopted. And I look forward to just bringing that education, that experience, as well as roots to the community, to the 2nd District, and serve. And it's all about service. We truly live, and I've traveled the world, I've fought for it. We truly are blessed to live in the greatest country in the world. And I just think that we need folks that understand that and can talk first person, and I can, on multiple subjects.
So how would you propose we draw a balance between protecting our country, but also allowing people to come here and live a dream and contribute to this great country?
Absolutely. So I said, I was born in Cuba. I'm a naturalized citizen, and this country is based on immigrants coming here and enjoying the melting pot. But like one of my last command tours, Naval Forces South out of Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico, our area of responsibility was Central South America. Saw that as like Panama, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, all those bases. And we would interface with the embassies and obviously our partners in the military. And people would be lined around the embassies applying here to come legally, desiring to come here. Healthy, educated people just want a better way of life to come to America, to live the American dream, like I'm so blessed to have done. And then I've also been to 2 days in Nogales along the border. in Mexico, Arizona border and seen, and I speak Spanish, so I was a heart-wrenching experience to see folks coming here, selling everything they have for $4,000 or $5,000, paying a mule to bring them across, carrying cocaine and marijuana in backpacks, dying in the desert coming across. And then the folks that make it there, you can see the Greyhound buses lined up. At the peak, they processed 137,000 people in 1 month at a processing facility along the Mexico-Arizona border. And it's unbelievable the number of people trying to come here, but illegally. And then they're brought in here into slavitude, a kind of black market capitalism. They're really never part of the American dream and the citizenship because it's not the way to come here. So, and obviously they're here by the millions. So I totally support President Trump's big walls and then tall walls and big doors. In other words, build the wall, control the immigration process, have big doors so we can know who's coming in here legally. We can track them in and out. And then they go back, they work here temporarily on all the various visa programs there are. And then once we control the border, and only when we control the border, then we can address the issue on immigration reform and all that stuff. See, the Democrats want to flip that around. They want to, well, we got to make everybody citizenship. And why? Because they're pitching that stuff thinking they're all going to vote that way. And I just don't support that. And it's not the right way. We got to take care of Americans first, and protecting the borders is paramount. And it's just not Central South America. I mean, there are folks around the world that come through the southern border that come here with questionable intent, and several of them were terrorists.
It's one of the best explanations on that topic I've heard. Thank you. Let's bring some clarity.
I asked Chief Bell, he's been running since January, and I said, you're getting a lot of people just coming up to you saying, this is my number one issue, this is what I want, this is what's important, or this is the pain that I'm feeling. What do you get?
So we announced in November, saw an absolute requirement. We should have won this district. Trump won it by 3 points. So we announced early, been running, and I've been so fortunate to get over 40 elected officials, past and present, endorsing me, and campaigning when we were able to physically, because I love people, you know, I don't know, the Hispanic background or whatever. I just love the people. I love the district. I mean, from the Eastern Shore, Maryland, the aquaculture, the farming, Tangier Island, the folks there, all the way up to York County. It's 4.5 hours from one to the other. And we have talked to folks, and people are really concerned about what's going on with the future of our economy, especially now during the coronavirus and stuff. Are we coming back, and, you know, are we going to rebuild? But several people have lost their businesses and have not been able to sustain even with the various programs. So getting our economy back and getting it operating on full, as I call, all cylinders firing, that's going to happen. I think we're starting to see that in the market, but that's the number one concern. Obviously, also here in the area of defense, we have to have strong defense, take care of our veterans, because that's also a very local issue with the multitude of veterans that we have here, both current warfighters as well as folks that have retired or left the service and stayed in this wonderful area to live.
I probably need to interject. I should have said this before. There's a third candidate that we reached out to all of them, Mr. Taylor, who was a congressman once 2 years ago and lost that seat, Lori. He declined to participate. Much to our disappointment, but there's nothing more to say about that. But any Taylor supporters out there, please know that we did reach out, but we're certainly fortunate we had Chief Bell, and we're going to have several minutes more with you. So continue to tell us about your platform.
So yeah, no, we're running on a platform of service. You know, I've served my country for 30 years, retired Navy captain, senior officer. I started a wonderful small businessman out of my spare bedroom, and have grown that to an award-winning engineering firm with over 40 employees in 4 states. My wife, she played violin for the Virginia Symphony, and with wonderful marriage. We've been married for 17 years now, and 2 beautiful young girls, and just full of life. And I look forward just to continuing to serve our community. I was honored to have served in Richmond, appointed by Bob McDonald to the Public School Authority, so understand the whole Commonwealth school system and the funding and all that. I got to work with the treasurer of the Commonwealth Virginia, and that was an appointment there. I've also been appointed by City Council as a commissioner for arts and humanities. So again, service back. Those were all just volunteer positions that I served. So I really believe in giving back. You know, I've just been so blessed to live the American dream. I want to give back and doing everything I possibly can. So I've never been in an elected official perception, in other words, elected office, getting paid for that office. It's just been service thing. I want to continue that service to the constituents in the district.
I would love to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I know myself and a lot of people in this area, one of the main reasons we vote is because we want a strong national defense in our military, especially the ties to this area. So can you give us some perspective from your time in the military and the decisions that were being made in Washington, how you saw those, party lines affect actual things in the military in your job?
I've seen some really grotesque things have been done throughout, since 1979. when I started my first oath and all the way till I retired in 2013 and service like under Commander-in-Chief of President Reagan. He understood what it meant to take care of the warfighter. When we were off the coast of Libya, a tyrant that said, I'm going to take over any ship or any aircraft, international airspace or waters, President Reagan said, no, you're not. And he parked 3 aircraft carrier task forces. And then we got attacked. I remember flying at night that night, and all of a sudden surface air missiles come at us. And literally in about a day and a half, we wiped out Gaddafi's military. Fast forward a few years, I have my business. I'm here and I'm getting invited to Libya on an economic envoy because now we're trading partners. Peace through strength. You've got to have that strength and peace will come of it. I mean, that's like almost the founding documents of this great country to provide for the common defense. So President Trump gets it right as well. I saw what happens underneath different leadership, different commander-in-chief, different presidents, what happens when you don't support the thing where I wasn't getting flight time or the ships couldn't pull out of port because they weren't maintained. And the maintenance and the training are crucial. We train like we fight. And if you don't do the training, accidents happen, people lose lives, and we don't have the right equipment, people lose lives.
You practice like you play,
Exactly,
like our
exactly.
coaches used to say.
Exactly.
By the way, I pulled this up on your website.
Yeah.
If people could see that, I want to know, this is when Ben was a pilot, and I want to know what happened to that Ricky Ricardo mustache.
So I was
I
I was an NFO, and that's the A6 Intruder. And I was a bombardier navigator in the old A6 Intruder. It's a great aircraft, an amazing aircraft, and that's what I was so honored to fly and in combat. And we also did some combat actions against some terrorists that killed an American by the name of Leon Klinghoffer. Another Reagan-esque move, captured terrorists. There was a ship in the Mediterranean, a cruise ship, and there was an American citizen on there, and it was taken over by the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. They identified all the passports. Oh, you're American? He said, yes, I am. What's your problem? He stood up for America, and it's like, boom, overboard in his wheelchair.
in the wheelchair.
President Reagan said, get those guys. And literally, we tracked down the terrorists. They pulled in the port. They boarded an international airliner, and we captured them at altitude at nighttime with the F-14 Tomcats and forced them down in Signal, Italy, and brought them to justice. Peace through strength. President Reagan had a great. President Trump understands that, and he's doing a great job. So that is the reality of doing the right job and taking care of the warfighter to get the job done.
So with your extensive background and the contacts you have in the military, so you've seen a shift with President Trump getting in and his
Yes.
policies
Yes.
and how excited people are in the military
Absolutely.
now versus what happened the previous 8
Absolutely.
years.
Absolutely.
So it does make a difference.
The sequestration was atrocious. I mean, here we are right in our backyard in Suffolk. Joint Staff was providing exercise support to the warfighter to make sure they're trained and properly. And the sequestration just shut the light switch off. I mean, literally, military people, contractors, thousands of folks lost their jobs, and it was an arbitrary shutdown. That was atrocious. And so he's bringing that back and supporting the defense. I mean, it's the one constitutional mandate to provide for the common defense is the one mandate. And to me, defense is internationally and domestically. That's the first responders and our police force here. Why? So that you and I can live our lives in peace, which is why everybody came to America. They wanted to get away from oppression and tyranny to come in America and live the American dream. And so we got to have that defense. It's crucial.
You have a fan here with Miss Davis. She said that she's concerned that one of the other candidates might be in some trouble. So she likes Ben a lot, and so she's backing him. You can get your text coming in if you have a question for Mr. Loyola. Please bring it in, and we'll read those right off as he continues to tell us about why he's running in his platform. So continue.
And one thing I do want to say is because people aren't aware, we're making a lot of calls, tens of thousands of calls. People don't realize we have a primary the 23rd of June. The governor pushed it back 2 weeks. So 23 June, if you haven't put it on your calendar, please do. Sadly, there's like 890,000 people in the district, and we hope to get 25,000 people to come out, especially in light of the coronavirus. So your vote is like a 20-to-1 vote if you come out and vote. I mean, it's so important to vote. And it's, folks, a lot of military here fought, put everything on the line and lost their lives. As a matter of fact, I spoke, and it was touched my heart because I've never spoken about it during Memorial Day. There's a lot of blood that's been sacrificed around the world for the people for the ability to vote, and especially those here in America. So please vote. It's not a constitutional duty, but I mean, it's your civic calling to do that. It's so important to vote. So 23 June, come out and vote. And folks, there is a lot at stake. We are at a crossroads in this country. You saw the takeover of so many of our constitutional rights that happened. The Second Amendment right here in Virginia Beach. Hundreds of thousands of people coming out because the governor wanted to take our certain guns away and make them illegal, or the clips, or the size of the magazine. Very arbitrary type stuff. And then sadly, in all these proposed bills, including the bill Elaine Loria, our current congresswoman, had, was a line item to fund the buyback program, which means it'll say buyback program. So if you disagree about the price, now it becomes a confiscation program. You disagree about that, now you're a felon. You can't vote. I mean, you see the precipitous danger here, and it's a violation of your Second Amendment rights. They weren't allowed to speak freely up in Richmond, Virginia, First Amendment right violation, and the Fourth and Fifth, amendments of the Constitution, the ability of due process, and then basically the property rights. I mean, so you think about how many
Was it me, or did they sneak a lot of that stuff in right at the height of COVID?
They did, but however, they got massive pushback by different organizations and people. Unfortunately, some of the most egregious bills were killed in committee. Some of them did go through, but fortunately, some of the most egregious ones won. So that battle's ongoing, and whatever's happening here in Richmond is also happening at the federal level, because Elaine Loria signed on to a assault weapons ban and the magazine issue, and then also with a buyback program, and that was a line item in the bill. So right to work issues are happening at the state level, is happening at the federal level. You saw that the bill that they put out, the Democrats did, about literally would have fundamentally changed our election process, nationalizing the election process. So there's amazing forces that are trying to go really, I think, destroy America and how we've gotten here in our way of form of government. It's scary what's happening. So it's crucial, folks, you come out and vote. And JP, you just mentioned, you're right, we lost a seat. We lost a seat because of shenanigans done by our former congressman that sadly at that time it was just a scandal. And Elaine Loria bashed him. We lost a seat. We should have maintained it. Congressman Scott Ridgel had it for 3 terms up to that, and he had it for 1 term, and then we lost it because of a scandal, and now it's gotten monumentally worse. I mean, we've gotten 2 indictments, 1 conviction, and you got the prosecuting attorney saying more indictments are likely. So we cannot put that to risk. No way. I'm really the only candidate that can take the fight to Elaine Loria with the military background, success in business, my wonderful family, and roots in the community. And I look forward to winning this thing, winning it big. And all the numbers are showing we're going to be a huge victory. So
We wish you good luck. We got just a few minutes left.
yeah.
Your last date that people can get an absentee ballot.
So you can actually go, folks are concerned about that. And we've been promoting that. Fortunately, most people say they're concerned about their vote, especially what's going on with absentee ballots and concerns with that. So they can contact us at my website, benmoyola.com. Call us at 757-793-5384. We can send you an absentee ballot application. You got to mail that to the city. The city got to in turn send it to your ballot. So typically it's whatever the speed of the mail process. So up to a week out. But the one thing I can suggest would be is if you feel uncomfortable because of going in person to vote, you still have curbside voting. So you can park your car and they'll come out to your window of your car. You can do that. And if you still feel uncomfortable, you can go over to the registrar's office right next to the courthouse, the fire station, and vote what they call absentee ballot in person. You can just show up and vote there as well. It's kind of an absentee ballot, but you're doing it, casting it right there, so you know it counts. You're not relying on the mail.
My buddy Matt just came in and said, "Hey Ben, how do you intend to beat Elaine?" Boss, basically, because she's gonna have a ton of money.
Yeah. So look, folks, we've shown that it's not about the amount of money. You just have to have enough money. Look what Glenn Davis outspent 5-1, Bill D. Staff 4-1. So a lot of money came in here, and Elaine Loria's got over 90% of her money is California and New York. I mean, George Soros and that group. So it's just ridiculous that other states and other individuals, organizations want to buy this election because why? They want to get the majority. This is all about the majority in Congress. Why is that important? Because the majority is the chairman. The chairman in all these committees determines what bills survive, get put in, or get killed, however good or bad they are.
Sure.
The chairmanship, and that's controlled by the majority. So they realize that, and they're going to fight like the Dickens to get Elaine Loria. She's got a lot of money coming here out of state. She doesn't represent the constituents. I've heard that from all parties. I've heard that from constituents throughout the district. She doesn't represent, and all her money's coming out of the area, where my money's coming in district. 95% in district. Those are my folks down in Miami and in Indianapolis, my in-laws, and some other classmates and stuff like that. But the majority of that is coming in district. And she is very vulnerable. Look, her first vote was from Nancy Pelosi. Her first vote, even though she said she was a moderate. And we've seen that her embrace the socialist ideology, and her and the squad. She's voted for the repealing at the federal level the right to work. She signed on to the gun ban. So she signed on a bill to give illegal immigrants full medical benefits. We don't even have that for our veterans. I mean, folks, there's so many egregious things that a so-called moderate said that promised to do that, and then went up to DC and completely embraced the socialist left. So she's vulnerable. We've won this district. I really believe there's gonna be a red wave, and we're gonna win it big. We're gonna win it big.
Anybody can find you simply by going, Ben Loyola. That's all I did.
Yep,
And
Ben
it just,
Loyola.
I think, popped up.
Just
And,
like the university, Loyola or St. Ignatius Loyola. So we'll take one more step further there.
We officially, this chamber is a nonpartisan chamber, but we try to have everybody from both sides. We'll probably have Elaine lawyer, which as long as she accepts it. I know that we're gonna invite her. Who knows? Maybe we could have whoever wins the Republican race and hers here at the table at the same time, and that would be a good lively conversation.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
There you go. Any last thoughts here before we wrap up?
No, folks, I'm Ben Loyola, just like the school, Loyola. That's my website, benloyola.com. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote. There's a lot at stake here, folks. I mean, it really is. Look at the news. Look what's going on. You know, bringing accountability to China and the global trade. Obviously, supporting our veterans and our defense and our way of life is at stake. So vote on 23rd June on the primary. I look forward to representing you. I am easy to get a hold of. Email is ben@benloyola.com. The phone number is 757-793-5384. And go to my website. You can volunteer. We're leveraging technology. So if you want to call from home, you want to volunteer, there's lots of ways you can help the campaign. Obviously, donations are always appreciated. And I look forward to winning this thing and staying in contact. So God bless you all. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thanks so
Thank you
much
so much.
for being here. We're going to wrap up. You can hang out just for a couple minutes. Here, folks, thanks so much for being back on. In 2 weeks, we're going to have the 3rd District Republican candidates. Joel Rubin is hosting that Facebook Live event at 7:30 tonight. We encourage you to tune into him. He's always very entertaining. And those guys, I don't know any of them. So have you met them? The guys in the 3rd District?
No, I'm not. I've been so focused on the second.
And so I'm anxious.
Now that I have a Naval Academy buddy up there, so I got to check up on that.
Well, you got enough.
Well, actually, we have a big on the primary. We got Daniel Gabe. He's West Point grad running for Senate against Mark Warner. So that's an important election as well. So
I want to make sure that we thank all our members of our new chamber, which just been open for not even 4 months, I guess, or right at that, during a very tough time. Our chairman, Gary Byler's done a great job of pushing things and doing things there. I'd like to thank Dr. Packard. He's one of our initial, what is it, what do we call the first guys?
plank owners.
He's one of the original guys.
Founding.
Founding members, Spectrum Printing, who does great jobs. They're giving out free posters for the coronavirus. They're also selling hand sanitizer. Dick Olenek, who just I pushed to get this poster because our other one is in another place. But I want to thank Dick for doing that too. Also, our technical guy, Max Sapir, that's up in Richmond. He puts all this together because I come in and stumble around, Ben. And you watched me, and so and Kadisha and Yusuf, all the team that supports the Coastal Virginia Chamber of Commerce. Like us on our website, and please consider joining us. Our membership start as low as $250 for the very small mom and pops and stores, and go up there. So, gentlemen, thanks.
Thank you so much, JP. Thank you, Doctor.
And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks when we do it again, if not before. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Well, that went us pretty nicely, didn't it, guys?
Thank you. Thank you. That's great.